Today we're going to begin making a mandala design. One of the tools that I like to use is this one here, found at our local Hobby Lobby store. They can be ordered online as well. It's Helix. It's made by Helix. Alright, but it's wonderful for making circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this in the center of my page. I have a 9x12 piece of paper here. And I'm actually going to trace around the outside of the circle, because that'll give me a good start. Okay. Now, in order to make a good design, I also need some concentric circles inside. You could do some designs that feather out, but I usually try to do at least 5 on the inside. So I'm going to do a circle here. So there's 1. And then I'm going to move it in a little bit. 2. So we got 1, 2, 3 because of the outer circle. So here's 3. Alright, let's see what we got. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Now, I also need to divide this into 12 equal sections for this particular design. And the cool thing about this is, a circle is 360 degrees. Divided by 12, you've got 30 degrees apart. This actually has some lines where I can start to break it apart, and then I'll use a ruler later to finish it. So I started at 0, and I'm going to move to 30. Okay, and I can just mark a line there, mark a line there, then move it to 60. And try not to slide like I'm doing. Okay. Alright, so lock it in at 60, hold it down with your finger so it doesn't spin. And then, let's see, 30, 60, 90. I keep sliding my tools around here. 1, 2, and then 120. Trying not to, again, mess things up. Okay, and then 150. And the nice thing is, and then 180 is already done. We're good. Okay, so I've got my lines, and I'm going to use my ruler to extend these out further, but I've divided it up nice and equal. So then you take your ruler. Try to keep the lines fairly light. I know I'm doing a little darker for the sake of the camera. I'm lining this up. And I'm extending them beyond because my design could go beyond those circles. The reason we do all these circles is it allows us to create designs that are equal in size, and it helps keep the symmetry in place. Okay. And one more right here. Later we'll go over all this with Sharpie. But basically it's just getting that paper set up so that you can create your design. Now that we have it all divided up equally, it's time to start creating patterns and designs inside. Again, I'll go over this later with Sharpie, but we're going to do this in pencil. So maybe you decide that you want to do a circular pattern. And sometimes just outlining is not enough. I mean, you can do just outlines, but sometimes shading in an area creates more visual interest, and it actually changes it dramatically. And you'll see that in the end. So you could shade in the circles, or you could shade in the space around the circles. Okay? Once you've done that, and I said I'm not going to shade these, I like to do that when I start using my Sharpie. Alright, so maybe the next line I'm going to do triangles or something. So you just keep repeating your pattern. So you keep doing the same thing the same way all the way around. I'm not turning my papers for the sake of the camera. Alright, so I'm starting to get this interesting pattern. And you keep doing that as you keep working your way out. You can add other things into each of these sections if you decide there's something that really comes to mind as you're doing it. Okay. So, go ahead and keep making designs, working your way out through the whole process. Okay, so I did some quick designs here. They're not perfect. I didn't use a ruler. I just freehanded everything. Because I was drawing dark, this is the thing that we run into. So I always recommend drawing very lightly, but these lines probably won't disappear. So I did make some mistakes. It happens. But if you're drawing lightly, it won't be as big of a deal, because once we're done with the Sharpie, you can take your eraser back through here and clean up those pencil lines that you don't want. Now, you have to decide as you're going through which parts are you going to color in, which parts are you leaving as is. So I can go around all of these circles, and maybe I'll use those guidelines that I used for spacing, and maybe I won't. Typically, I erase those lines. Some of them will still appear to be there simply because I'm going to do things like shade in the center. And I can do every other one. See how that looks. But all it was is repeating some simple shapes over and over again, and it makes for a very intricate and visually pleasing design. And people usually look at it and wonder how you did it. It looks much more complicated than it is, and I've had people tell me that creating them is actually kind of relaxing. It allows you to focus. So hey, why not? So as I'm going through, I'm trying to decide, do I want this part colored on the outside? So what I might do, go ahead and color in these little triangular pieces on just this part. And the nice thing about your permanent marker is you can get, if you're getting really detailed, you can get markers that have a finer tip than this one. Okay, since we have the design pretty much done, it's a basic design, just real quick. These can get very intricate if you choose to do so, but now I need to clean up those pencil lines. So you just get an eraser, preferably one that's gentle on your paper, but will pull off the graphite from the pencil. And just clean up those lines so that you only have your Sharpie or permanent marker, whichever you may be using. There are other brands out there other than Sharpie. It's just Sharpie happened to be what I was using today. Okay, so cleaning up those lines, and then your design really begins to shine.